It could never happen here. That's being jobless in Hong Kong. But 1995 saw a record number of people out of work as the economy took a beating. Companies tightened their belts and laid off hundreds of workers.
But getting a job wasn't the only challenge. Public housing shortages led to tempers flaring at one temporary housing area. And the government's welfare spending becomes mired in politics.
The government gives itself a pat on the back as it announces 94% of the governor's policy targets have been met. But according to unlikely critics, it's way off the mark when it comes to providing housing.
It is our duty to request. Otherwise, it's very difficult for us to fulfill what we need to do according to the long-term housing strategy.
Those with temporary roofs over their heads know what long-term means. Temporary housing tenants get news their addresses will stay the same, at least until 1997.
As long as we have families not eligible for rental housing, then the need for temporary housing would continue.
The governor visits one of the 12 THA areas affected. To show what life is like for them, Kowloon Bay THA residents try to give the governor a pet to take home. The attempt goes awry.
Tore my shirt, I turned around to see him, I lifted his fist, boom.
Frustrations, however, aren't confined only to THA residents. Some public housing tenants aren't sure who's better off as overcrowding gets worse in the estates.
We have asked the departments to conduct a review on this scheme to make it more equitable, more fair.
The Ombudsman makes 14 recommendations, but the Housing Department rejects criticisms that it's not doing its job.
Definitely, I wouldn't agree that there is a lack of organization.
But what the Housing Department does admit to is that more than 400 housing blocks are substandard and need to be repaired.
First on the government's to-do list is the clearance of rooftop dwellers as urban renewal picks up momentum and opposition.
Illegal rooftop dwellers drive their message home. They're not going anywhere without a fight. And wealthy tenants fight for their right to stay in public housing, despite the campaign to get them out.
What the subcommittee now proposes is that if they hold an answer to a level, then they have to pay market rents or they have to move within 2 years.
But market rent may not be exactly a king's ransom as the property market goes soft.
We are not experiencing a crash. We are experiencing a return to sanity.
Sales in the property market experience a nearly 30% dip. Developers are shy about buying.
Reflects, the strength of the market, although one would say that these are small lots and may not be indicative and representative of the entire market.
Retailers feel the pinch as shoppers are shy about buying. In Kowloon, retail vacancies run up to 30%, but even good business isn't a guarantee. Hotels shut down for a more profitable future.
22.
The Hilton Hotel, a Hong Kong institution, says a final goodbye to its guests. The closure makes way for an office building.
We're now concerned that looking ahead to 3 or 4 years' time, we could be facing a period of a severe hotel shortage.
Hard times also spill over to the food and beverage business. San Miguel lays off scores of workers, while Fairwood Group sacks hundreds, citing a drop in sales as the reason.
2 local newspapers hit the stands for the last time, as competition and a price war stopped the presses for good. 2 weeks later, the price war claims 2 more victims, a financial daily and a lifestyle magazine.
At 3.6%, unemployment reaches a record 11-year high in the territory. About 120,000 people are out of work.
The majority
of vacancies offered are, for example, the security guards, caretakers, and sales, and store attendants.
But some blame the labor importation scheme for Hong Kong's economic woes.
It's very important for government to now to severely prosecute all those employing illegal workers, and also to scrap the importation labor scheme.
The government gives in, at least partially.
I believe that we should now bring the existing general labour importation scheme to an end. It will be run down naturally over the next year or so.
But business leaders insist the scheme is crucial for the economy to thrive.
There will be sectors that requires the assistance of imported labor because we cannot find the right people in Hong Kong.
For the construction industry, the right stuff means foreign help. Airport projects skid to a halt as hundreds of Thai and mainland workers accuse contractors and employment agencies back home of ripping them off.
Obviously, some foreigners, they're not either Thai or Hong Kong people involved.
They will assist the Hong Kong government in looking into the case, and they will do investigation in Thailand.
Mainland workers strike as they seek help from the new China news agency. The NCNA promises to investigate. The strike is a convincing argument that imported workers are exploited at the expense of locals.
Meanwhile, domestic helpers fight for higher salaries, but the government rejects their calls.
Hong Kong is a very high standard living. So we don't think that the employers cannot pay for us for little consideration.
If she did not like the salary, she can change her job and look for a higher salary.
And for those who've already paid their dues, the fight continues for a viable pension scheme. The government sets an age limit for those who can receive benefits at 65, but many say that won't do them any good.
應該咧就係60歲㗎啦。65歲幾時捱得到65歲嘅優惠啫？你話嚇？55歲啦，退休啦，咁咪我哋食咩啊？
And the Secretary for Health and Welfare makes no apologies about that and the government's $1,800 a month in aid. She later is repentant after public outrage over her comments.
But getting Social Security out of the dark is more difficult as a tug-of-war erupts over the transitional budget.
The Chinese side will have to explain why they've suddenly changed their view. The fact is they didn't ask for consultation on the 96-97 budget.
胡小姐，你带我们走好长一段路啊！走到那边啊。
And as proof, a Great Wall still divides the two sides. Beijing calls the governor a dictator. It accuses the Hong Kong government of driving recklessly with welfare spending.
不用多少年，肯定车毁人亡。车上坐的是600万香港市民。
I think it's astonishing. People in Hong Kong have earned the money for these community programs through their own hard work. And of course we can afford them. When people talk about driving cars, what they should remember is that according to a very well-known, prestigious American think tank, which reported at the beginning of the week, we're the best car drivers in the world.
And perhaps a reflection of that confidence, the stock market reaches the 10,000 mark amid the heated exchanges. But it can be a deceptive barometer as the territory's economic growth for the second quarter sinks to a 4-year low.
The government has the ability to stimulate the economy financially, yet the government is doing nothing. If you do nothing, you force us to do something.
That something is LegCo's rejection of a series of public fee increases aimed to kickstart the economy. Officials warn that fighting those fiscal measures will mean bad news.
普羅大眾亦都知道，我哋呢一個收費咧係用一個用者自付嘅原則，就唔係有額外嘅向市民去徵稅。但係我哋如果冇咗呢一個原則嘅話咧，卒之咧就係 負擔呢個人係咩嘢咧？係普羅大眾，卒之納稅人咧要更加多呢個負擔。
But it's not just the public that's afraid of being shortchanged. China, too, is worried that Hong Kong, Asia's premier banker, may be counting too much on funds earmarked for the post-97 government.
Coming up after the break, a few good men. Hong Kong tries to get a handle on growing corruption.
And tragedies leave their mark on the roads and out at sea. Stay with us.